Hello everyone, welcome to Conversations with Sakina. Today we are going to take a look at the possibility of there being portals on Mount Shasta. There are many stories about Mount Shasta with UFOs, with missing people, with Lemurians. There's so many different stories that surround Mount Shasta as being a very mystical place to be. And one of the things that has been suggested is that there are portals on Mount Shasta and possibly even many of the other national parks, that there are portals that open up. But we're just looking at Mount Shasta right now. We want to know if there are actually portals on Mount Shasta. And if there are, do they just open up at random when there are people hiking on their own? Not with groups, but people hiking on their own. And, do these people go into these portals without any knowledge that this is what is going to happen, that they're suddenly walking through a portal? Do they notice anything out of the ordinary? Are there portals all over Mount Shasta? And who created the portals, or are they naturally created? Anyway, these are some of the questions that we're going to attempt to answer today in this reading or this tarot investigation. All right, so let's get started. We're going to ask first, are there portals on Mount Shasta? So we have Justice, Five of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Six of Sticks or Six of Wands, and Queen of Vessels. Okay, first of all, and one of the first things I always look at is whether or not we have all the elements here. And yes, we do. Justice is air, stones are earth, sticks are fire, vessels are cups. So this is an indication to me that perhaps this is a spiritual doorway, that these portals, if in fact we do determine there are portals, that they're perhaps a spiritual doorway. A spiritual doorway to where? Unsure at this point. So I'm seeing here, it appears that I'm going to say the answer to our question is yes, there are portals on Mount Shasta. And I say that because number one, the Justice card shows us that there is a portal there. It looks just like a hole in the rocks. However, I believe it's showing us that there's a portal. So, and the Justice card is also about truth and clarity. So here's the truth of it. Yes, there are portals on Mount Shasta. And sometimes the unexpected happens. Is that somebody actually walks through. They're walking through the woods and they happen to walk through one of these portals. And then things aren't as they seem anymore. They weren't expecting it. They might be prepared for the unexpected when it comes to the physical realm, but they're not prepared for something in the creative realm. Let's put it that way. And I think the Queen of Cups here is just using the picture on the card. It's like going through a portal is like surfing on big waves. Maybe that's what it's trying to share, is that's what it feels like when someone goes through one of these portals. So I want to ask, do these portals move around? Or are they stationary? So we have the Star. We have the Six of Swords. The Knight of Sticks or Knight of Wands, the Ace of Stones or Ace of Pentacles, and the Sun. Okay, so I think what it's saying here is that there's no map for these portals, inside or outside. Okay, and the cards are saying that you need to be prepared for pretty much anything, mentally prepared for pretty much anything. These portals can be way up high. If you choose to climb trees, you might actually come upon one, or climb very, very high up the mountain. They can be anywhere on the ground. The potential is, it can be like this with the stones. Or it can be a tree hollow, or it can be a hole in a cave in the mountain. But it is saying that when they come, they are illuminated somehow. So maybe there is a certain kind of glow to them. Maybe the sun hits them in a certain way. They cannot be seen at night by starlight or by the moon, but they can be illuminated somehow by the sun. So there's apparently more than one, and this really did not answer the question of whether they move around or they stay stationary. Actually, since it didn't say they move around, I'm going to say they're probably stationary, but there's many. There's not just one. And, whether or not you can ever be mentally prepared, well, probably not. But if you know that it's a possibility, you can be on the lookout. If you happen to be on Mount Shasta, you can be on the lookout for anything that perhaps shimmers like a star, shines like the sun, has interesting markings like this rock does, have gear with you that, might be helpful. So I think what I would like to ask next is, if you go through a portal like this, is there any way out of the portal? I'm back upside down here. Okay. Knight of Blades. Four of Blades. Blades are swords. Three of Stones. Three of Stones. Five of Blades. And Eight of Cups. So again, swords. Stones are pentacles, and vessels are cups. Okay, so I think with the Knight of Blades here, I believe this is showing that some of these portals would take some dynamite to get out of. It would be no easy task. You would have to really be inventive, I think, to get out of it. And that's once you determine that you've gone through a portal. Not sure what that looks like yet. You might just be, going through and thinking that you're still in the same place. Maybe that portal looks so much like where you were that you don't notice right away. Until, of course, you get to talking to some of the people that you see on the other side. And when you get to talking to people you see on the other side, or even notice a major difference between, okay, here it was snowy, here it is not, then your mind is going to say, uh-oh, we're in trouble here. Something has happened. And that's when you begin to try to find your way out. So it isn't saying that it's impossible to get out, but it is saying you have to be pretty ingenious to figure out a way out once you figure out that you've gone through a portal. So another question that I want to ask is, are these portals, do they pop up randomly, or do they pop up somehow when there's, let's say, lone hikers or someone lost in the woods? So let's see what cards we get. We have the Five of Vessels or Five of Cups. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Five of Wands. We have the King of Pentacles. And we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so I feel like this is saying both. We have a lone rider here, and we have a card where for humans it would be meaning extremely distraught. Something bad is happening. The snake is going to eat the robin's eggs. The robin is freaking out. So I'm going to say for those people who are lost and trying to find their way through, I believe it's saying that the portals will open up for them. And also people who are just out and hiking on their own. And it is somewhat random, not knowing who would be making the choice as to when the portal opens up. It does not open up usually for strong people, and it doesn't normally open up for larger groups, or the portals with an S. So we've seen, some of the possibilities of what these portals can be like inside. But are these portals alternate realities? Are these portals a way to get to another planet? Are these portals emptiness? What exactly are these portals? Or is the experience different for everyone? So we have the Nine of Wands. We have the King of Swords. Two of Sticks or Two of Wands. The High Priestess. And Temperance. Okay, so with the Nine of Sticks or Nine of Wands, this is a dynamic energy card for me. And it can either go where a person is absolutely exhausted, or they have so much energy that it really brings about good things. Okay. In this particular case, I'm going to say that the cards are telling us that these portals, what's on the other side, is going to be very different depending on the personality of the person going in. And I think it's saying with the King of Blades that this is a very powerful mind-bending experience. And it is really up to the person who is taken in once they get their bearings. If they get their bearings, which is the Two of Sticks, to determine how they're going to react to where they are and what's going on. Is there a map once they're in there? Who knows? It's really hard to say. But they need to make a decision to believe what they're seeing and to believe that they have gone somewhere beyond the veil, beyond what they're accustomed to. So with the High Priestess here, I'm going to say that these portals go back. These portals go to places that look like where we are already. So we're going to say alternate realities. They go to places that seem impossible. Maybe you would find yourself, when you walk through on a cliff, an icy cliff. Maybe they go to a desert. With the High Priestess, I'm going to say they maybe go to places that our minds cannot even fully comprehend. Places we didn't even know existed. And with the Temperance, perhaps, it's another part of the mountain, another part of Mount Shasta that they go to. rather than leaving the earth plane. Maybe it's just a portal door from one side of the mountain to the other side of the mountain, which is why sometimes when, for instance, children are lost, they are found someplace completely different. I mean, miles and miles away. And we think of, let's say, a 2-year-old child that's lost on Mount Shasta, and they're searching for this child where they believe this child should be because of where they were lost, and instead they're found on the other side of the mountain in a period of time that's impossible for them to, with little 2-year-old legs, to traverse. So some of these portals may go from one side of the mountain to the other. Okay, so I would like to just let the cards share whatever they want to share with this last pullout here. We have the 6 of Vessels, or 6 of Cups. We have the World, 6 of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, and King of Wands. What I'm getting here with the 6 of Vessels and 6 of Stones is that the cards are saying that there's water and there's land, obviously, through these portals as well. And the creatures that we find there may be different than what we find where we currently are on Earth, both in the water and on land. So be aware of that. So also, the 6 of Cups is a card of memory. So it is possible when you walk through a portal that somehow your mind is read, and maybe a memory is where you end up. Maybe the place that you go is at least in certain portals, maybe a place that you go is similar to something that you remember, a scenario you remember. Maybe it's also such a thing as it's a whole new world, something that you've never seen before or experienced. Maybe it has vibrant colored rocks, and maybe the clouds are all different colors instead of basically white and blue, and maybe the trees are, purple and orange, and maybe it's a whole new world. And with the 6 of Pentacles, this might seem like a very peaceful place, a place where you feel like you belong, even more so than where you originally came from before going through the portal. So the cards are also saying, be prepared. You need to be prepared because, and this includes mentally, be mentally prepared, because the potential of walking through a portal apparently is pretty good on Mount Shasta. It's pretty good. So the cards are saying if you feel like you are in total control of your environment, in total control of what you're doing and, your excursion that you're on, it's okay. Go ahead and think that way. If you feel like nothing could ever happen and, your life is never going to change that way, that's fine. But still, mentally prepare and make sure you bring things that you would need. And interesting, a lot of these people do take things, the tools that they need, their cell phones, their food, water, all those things, and those things end up being left behind with their clothing. Not sure what to say about that, but there's obviously something to it. But the cards are saying do the best you can to be prepared. Even if you don't believe, that it's something that will ever happen to you. Just be prepared anyway. Okay, so that's what we have concerning the Mount Shasta portals for the time being. Again, I may revisit this at some point with different questions. Please, if you have anything to say about what the cards have had to share, if you've read them a little bit differently, share that in the comments below. And also, if you have any questions that you would have liked me to ask about the portals, put those in the comments below. That will help me if I choose to do another video a little more in depth on Mount Shasta portals. So there we go. Until next time, take care.